gosh.
Good morning. Okay, hope everyone had a fantastic Thanksgiving and you're ready for a busy December now that we're December 1st. So I wanted to run down our agenda very quickly this morning, and Richard is going to go through some of this with your initial coaching call, and kudos to the agents that have committed to coaching for 2015. That's such an important cornerstone to our brokerage. You know, the three cornerstones that we have is training, the coaching, and also our tools and resources. So the coaching really reiterates a lot of the things that are on this morning's email of your checklist for 2015. The other thing that's important is to always balance this checklist. I would print this out and keep it in front of you at all times. So many times we have things that are going on through the day and we get distracted, and it's very difficult to always keep this in front of us and keep this top of mind. These are the basic things that are important to an agent productivity and income. And some you're going to look at these and think, gosh, you know, well, I could do that anywhere, or those are things that are, you know, that's the boring stuff. But this is what attributes to 90% of an agent's income. So the average agent in real estate, keep in mind, 90% of their income is from these basic things. We want to make sure that you're doing the very best at these basics. The KDNA is a way to tie that together. So the KDNA ties these basic components in your skill sets and refining those skills weekly to metrics. So that way Richard can see where you need to improve and help you improve those things. So with that being said, let's just roll down this checklist to see where you are. And I'd love for you to respond to my email and put your comments and put your maybe a scale of 1 to 5 of how well you assess yourself with each of these things on this checklist. It could be our fault. You know, it may not be you, but and you've got to take accountability for these things. But it also could be ways that we could help provide more tools or refine the tools that we are providing, or maybe it's just a communication gap to where there's something that we're offering, but maybe you don't know about it, that relates to these basic things. So that's why responding to this, putting Richard and myself on there and letting us know on a scale of 1 to 5 where you are in these things will ensure a productive 2015. So number 1, your business plan. Okay, so what do we have different about our business plan this year versus this last year? Part of it has to do with how much is in your monthly budget for marketing and what have you allocated in marketing expenses. So this came up in our management meeting this morning. We said in Trulia and Zillow, we're getting very few leads from Trulia and Zillow. The quality and the quantity of our Realtor.com is much better. So these are things we look at on a monthly basis, really on a weekly basis, as far as what's the quality and what's coming in on leads for lead generation and marketing. So you guys have to ask yourself those same questions on a weekly or monthly basis, and that needs to be built into your marketing plan. So how are you distributing this and on what activities? So tell me what specific things. Is it AdWords campaigns? Is it Facebook marketing? Is it listing Facebook marketing or buyers Facebook marketing? Is it direct mail? There's hundreds of different areas that you could go with this. So let me know what you're spending money on. We want to make sure that it's a wise use of your investment. Are you leveraging your strategic partners? That's Prospect Mortgage, Service First Mortgage, and Reunion Title and Trinity Title. So let me know if you are or are not, what's working, what's not working. Maybe there's other partners that have some tools that you've used that Service First and Prospect don't. If not, let me know. Let's see what we can do to have Service First and Prospect or Reunion and supplement some of that. Okay, does your weekly KDNA reflect this and outline? Are you consistently honing your skills each week in your KDNA numbers? So that should directly correlate with these basic metrics. How close are you to your 300 contacts in your sphere of influence? Now, the 300 contacts, why is that a magic number? Because 10% of the people, of the population in your sphere of influence, if these are homeowners and they're qualified to move, should be moving. So that's just an industry statistic. 10% of homeowners will move a year. Okay, keep that in mind. That's important part of your business plan as well. So 300 is the magic number to generate 30 transactions a year. Now keep in mind, it's not, those transactions don't just come from the people that are actually moving in your sphere of influence. Those are the basics. That's the low side of transactions that you should get from 300. But where is it that most of your sphere of influence, where do those transactions come from? Referrals. We know that the people you have the highest credibility with, the strongest relationships with, are the ones that are going to send you the most referrals. So the 30 transactions a year, that should be on the very low baseline side. But for every person's in your sphere, they should send you 1 to 2 referrals a year. So this could be as high as 60 to 90 transactions a year, just from 300 great contacts in your sphere of influence. So what I would ask myself is, on a scale of 1 to 10, the 300 people or the people that are in my sphere of influence, how do I rate my credibility with them? Am I credible? Do they know that I'm the best realtor of choice? Everyone knows lots of realtors. So what is it about you that's better than your competition? And then number 2, the market knowledge and the loyalty I have with them to generate referrals. How you can't do that unless you have credibility. So number 1, credibility, and then number 2, are you asking for the business, and what systems do you have in place to generate that business from those referrals? Okay, are they data-based, and how are you touching them monthly? You know, we have to touch these people monthly, and you want to use generally 5 different mechanisms to touch your sphere of influence. Nothing is more effective than a pop-by. 70% of communication takes place non-verbally, and when you're face-to-face with someone, the communication on a telephone call is not as strong as it is when I'm on a television screen, and it's much stronger if I was actually in person. And then think about when you cross that person's threshold in their home. Their home is a very personal place. It's even more effective. That's why pop buys, Brian Buffini built an entire business on pop buys and business by referral. And that's the number 1 thing that he'll always recommend is a pop buy to your sphere of influence on a consistent basis. Quarterly is what he suggests for a pop buy. This is a fantastic time of the year for a pop buy. So keep that in mind, whether you're and have something with you, whether it's a candy bar or something healthy or a poinsettia. Okay, phone call. Phone call is Mike Ferry built a business on prospecting and on the telephone, because we know that agents have the highest amount of efficiency. So your highly skilled agents are going to be much more efficient on the phone than actually going face to face, because you can make more contacts per hour, right? So that goes directly back to your KDNA. What are some of the things we talk about on these phone calls? And this goes back to having your database in a system to where you have your birthday, spouse's birthday, their home anniversary, marriage anniversary, home anniversary. You can look at your past clients and you can go through the MLS to find that. Market update, the Waller Group apology script. The apology script is probably one of the best scripts to use if you have not talked to your sphere of influence or someone in the last year. Postcards. Just listed, just sold postcards. Why are those important? Because they build your credibility. So even if it's not a sale in your geofarm, or even if it's not in your sphere of influence's neighborhood, that builds credibility because they see that you're listing, that you're selling property. Quarterly market snapshot. What does that do? Number 1, it also builds credibility. If it's in the geographic farm and they see that you know the market and you're the purveyor, the conveyor of the numbers in that market, the market expert, then that's building your credibility. And that's the number 1 thing that has to happen before you can generate the referral business from that. Newsletter, market snapshot. Guys, the top producer market snapshot is bar none, by far, the best monthly communication, automated monthly communication tool. Why is it so effective and why is it so good? Because it's a relative to that homeowner. Every homeowner wants to know what their neighbor's home sold for, what they just listed their house for, or how their value has changed over the last 30 days. If you can give someone an automated appraisal every 30 days, that is not only increasing your credibility, but it also keeps you top of mind. When they think of market expert, they're going to think of you when that market snapshot comes across their email. The subject line in your email is extremely important. If it's a marketing piece, most people will not read more than the subject line. You're going to be deleted as soon as that email hits that PC. So that subject line better have a very powerful communication piece to it, or a call to action, or something that, number one, conveys credibility. Okay, text message. Is it personal and is it tailored toward your client? So whether this could be a birthday text, this could be something as simple as I saw this write up about you in the paper. Kudos, looks great, great article, or whatever it is that's personal, that's relative to them. So keep that in mind. How can you be personal with your text messages and make this a part of your KDNA numbers when you're reaching out? If that person responds to that text message, you can count that as a contact. Count that as a contact in your KDNA, because that's a dialogue, that's a response. So we don't count a contact. You could count a text message outgoing as part of your flyers or direct mail numbers in your weekly KDNA. But until they respond back, then that's not a contact. So keep that in mind. Handwritten note cards. 5 note cards a week is what a lot of the top brokerages suggest with their agents. I think when I initially saw this, I thought, well, how pathetic is that for your agents to only send 5 note cards a week and you measure that? That seems so ridiculous. But it's like measuring making up your bed every day. It's something that's a habit. And that's what we have realized, is that if you build keystone habits like making your bed, or a hour of power prospecting each morning, or a ritual. Rituals lead to habits. Positive habits lead to productivity, and of course, productivity leads to a happy life and a positive income. So keep that in mind. We're always working toward productivity, and sometimes these small chunks will make great things happen. So it's consistent weekly improvement, and as long as you guys just your effort to be on this call each week, I applaud you, because that's something that's consistent, and that's something that if you do this, if you're participating in this call each week, I guarantee it leads to a greater income. It's because it's a keystone habit. So I applaud you guys for that. Okay, the text message, handwritten note cards. Another reason handwritten note cards are so powerful is because it's personal, and something that's personal, a personal message that you take the time to do. You being a salesperson, when you're in sales, some people have the mentality that they're always trying to get something from me. They're always wanting a referral from me. They're always wanting this or wanting that. Take. That's the beautiful thing about real estate, is that the agents that make the most amount of money are not the agents that are taking. They're the agents that are giving. So what I want you to ask yourself is, this week, how much have I given to my clients? How much have I given to my transactions to create a better experience, a more positive experience for this buyer or this seller or this person that I just meet in the grocery store? So if you're contributing to positive experiences, that will lead to productivity, and the profit will follow. I guarantee it. White paper and geofarm. Okay, 20 sales a year minimum in 18 months from your geofarm. How did I calculate that? If you're targeting 2,000 to 5,000 people, and we know that the average homeowner moves every 10 years, if you have a 10% turn rate, and that's a high turn rate in an area. So out of those 2,000 homes, there's going to be 200 sales. So you say, okay, well, Logan, if why do you have only 20 sales a year when there's 200 sales a year in my geofarm? Well, we want you to dominate that market, but agents that even have market dominance, generally, even market dominance, you're not going to have more than about 25 to 30% of the total sales. So even after 18 months, 18 months is what I always say is the magic number when you're working on your geofarm consistently, month in and month out, and you're building those keystone habits and you're following these basic things in your checklist, then in 18 months, you should have market dominance. Market dominance is still only about 30% of the market. So between 20 and 40% of the market. It's a fluid number, but that's about the most you can expect for market dominance in a neighborhood. So out of those 200 sales a year, then the best case scenario is probably going to be about 50 sales a year that you're generating from your geographic farm. So the reason I have 20 sales a year is that's the low side, that's the minimum. I'm trying to create very realistic low expectations here. So have you updated your white paper in the last 6 months? This is a great time of the year to do that. And this is something that you want to do at least once a year, preferably every 6 months, to update and refine that white paper. Are you touching 2,000 to 5,000 people a month in your geo farm? How are you touching them? We talked about the market snapshot through Top Producer, bar none, the best tool I've seen, and it's cheap. It doesn't cost anything per snapshot sent. It's just a monthly subscription fee. It's about $120, $140 a month. That includes the whole CRM system and everything. Weekly open houses. So guys, I can't emphasize this enough on your open houses, is that open houses are most effective in your geo farm. So you want people in your geographic farm to not be able to get away from you, to where they see your open house signs every weekend. They see your just listed, just sold flyers each week. They see your postcards in the mail with your market update once a quarter. They see just listed, just sold postcards. And so postcards and flyers, this is going to depend on what price point you're in as far as the neighborhood. So that's why we interchange some of this as far as in our training. Postcards and flyers, I would say if it's under $400,000, you could probably get away with a flyer. You guys can do that for free. It's just your time out there in the neighborhood, and it's almost as good as door knocking when you're putting out those flyers door to door. Postcards, if it's over 400,000, I would encourage you to do more direct mail and postcards. It not only is a little bit more professional, but probably in gated communities in certain areas, then it's going to be more effective. But it has to be consistent. It doesn't matter what you do, it won't work unless it's consistent. So 18 months is the magic number, but going into the spring next year, you want to make sure that you're top of mind with these people, that they've been getting something from you for 9 times. They need to see that open house sign, that for sale sign, that postcard, that flyer 9 times before they remember your name. So keep that in mind in your geographic farm. The AdWorks campaign for home valuations. Guys and gals, our conversion tool is fantastic. Conversion is an amazing tool if you use it properly. So make sure that you're taking the conversion trainings each week. They're always changing things, they're always enhancing things. And it's like anything, any other training, you've got to stay polished on what's changing, because if you're not changing, the market is. So the conversion, I'm always looking for other better and greater tools and technology that's out there. I think that's a big part of our job as a brokerage, is to bring you the best tools and technology that's available. So conversion, from what I've seen, is if you use it properly. So those canned campaigns, some of them are terrible. Make sure that you're personalizing those campaigns to a seller. You're personalizing them to the buyer. If you're at $1 million price point and they get a campaign that says, you know, does your credit not qualify, they're going to be PO'd. So make sure that your campaigns are relative to your geographic farm and the people that you're working. And it's just a matter of tweaking it. It's very simple. But the home valuation tool on conversion is one of the most professional tools that I've seen. Use it, but you have to use it with Facebook ads. That needs to be part of your budget per month in your geographic farm. Do you have a presence? Are you showing up in the Facebook feed? Are those homeowners, keep in mind, they can't get away from you, is the point. So you need to show up in their Facebook feed. You need to show up online on the AdWorks campaigns. You need to show up in their mailbox, show up on their door, show up in the signs in the neighborhood, show up in whether it's a food drive or Coke drive or what you're contributing back, but keep that in mind. Mojo calling to build database and email list. Again, this is something that you have as a free tool. So many of these tools are free. And it's probably the biggest challenge that agents have in a geo farm is the money it takes to develop that. And for me, you guys know that's always been a very, very important cornerstone to our brokerage, is to help you generate listing business. We provide a lot of these tools, and we have these resources and partnerships with Reunion Title, where these things are, if not free, the closest thing to free to help you build your presence in these areas. So keep that in mind and take advantage of it. Personal text messages, again, to your geographic farm. I have a buyer flyers and I have a buyer direct mail piece. These will be built into Back Agent here in the next few weeks. So that's exciting to have a lot of this into Back Agent for you. I have a buyer, again, postcard and the quarterly market update postcard, which will go in shortly. The other thing I just wanted to do is recap. I put this email from Reunion Title that we sent out for you guys. It was on August 15th. we don't see very many agents utilize this. Granted, we're in December around the holidays. It won't be as effective now as it would be in February or March leading up to the spring season. But make sure that you utilize our partnership with Reunion Title on the I Have a Buyer flyer, because that I Have a Buyer flyer is one of the most effective marketing pieces we've seen. I was at, I think it was NAR, or it was a recent conference, and I was amazed to see another huge brokerage, this is one of the top 10 brokerages in the nation, doing something almost exactly like our I Have a Buyer flyer. So there's a lot of different variations of that, but the call to action is basically the Mike Ferry script. I have a buyer for your home. Guys, there's no better call to action than that when you're in a geographic farm. So don't make this business too complicated. Let's keep it, it's as simple as matching a buyer with a seller. So that's it. Okay, so a few other highlights on KDNA. I know Thanksgiving last week, we didn't have as good of a turnout in KDNA, but I do want to congratulate Corey. Corey had some fantastic numbers, some great closings last week, and also 2 properties he put under contract. Kudos, Corey, great job. Also, Jill, Barbara, Amanda, Kathy, Monica, Nena, I want to congratulate you on your KDNA as well. Parham, Anaid, and Rose and Jesse, Angela, Ashton, you guys have been consistent over the last few weeks with your KDNA. Keep it up going into the holidays. So as Richard helps you with your coaching next year, I want to make sure that we're really looking at these KDNA numbers and you're getting a lot of value out of it. This is something we're all working on together. So I want to also congratulate the agents that have committed. I think we have 4 agents that have committed to coaching for next year. This is a specific time each week for you guys to increase your skill set and get more value out of the KDNA and more value out of the tools and resources that we offer, and just help you constantly hone and refine your skills each week with Coaching with Richard. So those of you that have not committed, please do. That you are doing a disservice to yourself if you're not in coaching. It's one of the things that changed my career when I was in coaching, and we use the Mike Ferry coaching model. The other thing I want to mention is we had 11 referrals over $120,000 last week. So these were assigned out to you guys that are in the KDNA that were participating. So make sure you're participating, that you're getting the KDNA referrals. I was very happy to see that we had 11 over $120,000 last week, because I don't even measure the ones that are under $120,000. So the only ones that I'm looking at that come in on a daily basis are the ones that are over $120,000. And I look at how many appointments we set a day with you guys as agents for these inquiries and referrals that are over $120,000. Guys, these are expensive. These are $40 to $50 leads each. And these are property inquiries and appointment requests. So take advantage of them. And they're not low. You know, there's a lot of low price points, but the ones that we're focused on are the ones over $120,000. So keep that in mind. The other thing is we have 5 tickets for tomorrow's Stephen Swampoole's event. And that is at, it's in Richardson. I think it's at the Renaissance Hotel. I think there's breakfast before, and then the event. I think you're out by noon. And anyone that wants to attend that event, let me know. I highly encourage you to do that. I think those tickets are $100 each or $200 each. I can't remember, but I sponsored a table and co-sponsored it with Reunion Title, Prospect, and Service First Mortgage. So Reunion Title will be there, and we encourage you to, if you'd like to bring a guest or bring another agent from another firm, I would consider that as well. So let me know who you want to bring and just email me so we can put you down. The agents that will get preference are the agents that are participating in KDNA, but please let me know if you'd like to. I highly, highly encourage you to attend that. The reason Stephen is so good is that he gives an annual trends report of what's going on in the real estate industry and going on across the nation as far as tools, technology, home buyer, home seller trends, where the market's moving. So his trend report is highly, highly respected by the top brokerages in the industry, and Champions Real Estate School is co-sponsoring him, bringing him into Richardson to speak tomorrow. So take advantage of that and the contribution that Waller Group and the title companies have made on your behalf for those tickets, because they're not cheap. Okay, and then listing contest update. I wanted to congratulate our top listing agents. And I didn't bring my sheet with me, but I know Wes is at the top and Claudia is just nipping on his heels. So Claudia, keep up the great work. And then I think we have Anaid right behind, and Amanda and Brenda, and that's off the top of my head, so I apologize. But keep in mind that contest ends at the end of this year. You've got a few strong weeks left, so keep up the fantastic hard work, and you guys have a productive, fantastic week after Thanksgiving and kick off December well. Thank you for participating.